Just over 2 years ago, I picked up a camera for the very first time. And now today, I'm a full-time photographer and videographer. And I'll walk you through how I did it and how you can too. Now, as a freelance creative, when you first start out and you first pick up that camera, you're going to need to do a lot of free work. As much as a lot of people don't like to do this, you need to do it, as you need to build your portfolio before you can start charging for work. Just think of it in any other trade. You can't go to someone, promise that you're really good at it, and they're going to pay you. You need to have proof of work and proof that you are the right person for the job. Now, when you're building this portfolio, it's really important that the pieces of the work you're putting out are to a high quality. As much as on a lot of different shoots that you're doing for free, you're going to be learning. If the photos aren't up to scratch, you don't need to put them on your portfolio or social media. You can keep them to you and learn from those lessons. That's the amazing thing about doing things for free. Because you haven't charged, they don't need to go anywhere. They can just stay with you. They could be your mistakes that only you know about. Now, for me, I did free work for one full football season, which is about a year. For other people, this might be longer, this might be shorter, but I would advise to do it for at least 1 year if possible. But if you're doing it for 1, 2, 3, or even 4 years, that's absolutely fine. There's no rush. The timing needs to be right. Once you've got a good portfolio of work, you can then start to charge small amounts for different gigs. So whether that be fuel coverage, whether that be 20 or 30 pounds just to cover an hour or two event, it doesn't matter how big or small the payment is. All that matters is that you're building up your confidence in providing work under the pressure of it being a paid gig. And you're also building up your portfolio of paid work and getting your name out there and building your network. Network in any creative field is a massive thing. You need a network to be able to lean on and to be able to get gigs off of in those quieter months. If you don't have a big network, you're not going to be known, and paid work isn't going to be as easy to find once you're at that stage. Now, you've done all that free work, you're now getting smaller payments for the work you're doing. When do you start charging more money? Now, this effectively comes when it comes. You can't force it. When you're getting a lot of gigs for a small amount of money and you built a good name for yourself, begin to gradually bring your rates up. But it's important that you don't rush this. If you bring your rates up too much and the quality of work and the equipment you're using doesn't match this, people are going to stop using you and going elsewhere, and you're going to start to lose clients. The clients that you're getting smaller rates for aren't all going to come with you as you bring your rates up anyway, but a lot of them will stick with you as they trust you at this point and they don't mind paying a bit extra as they can see the improvements in your work. A lot of my clients that I have now were some of my first clients when I first started charging for my services. Now, when you're beginning to charge higher rates, it's important that you begin to bring in some retainers. If you don't know what a retainer is a consistent amount of work on a set basis. So this could be 2 football matches a month for a certain amount of price for 6 months, for example. Now, when setting up these retainers though, it's important that you don't set them for too long. For example, you don't want to do a 4-year retainer with no option to up your rates, as in 4 years time, you're going to want to up your rates, but you're still going to be charged the same amount that you would have been when you first started. You want to have a good length of retainer so that you've got consistent money coming in, but there's also an option to up those rates if you need to at any point. Now, for a lot of freelance photographers and videographers, retainers will be the main source of income. These retainers will usually cover all of your outgoings and potentially have a bit of extra cash spare, as that's the money that you know is going to be coming in each month, almost like a wage from a salary. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't get other bits of ad hoc work. Ad hoc work on top of it gives you that extra cash flow. Alongside the ad hoc work, you also want to be trying to monetize your online presence if you can, and other things around that just to bring in that extra cash, as you don't want to be living off just the retainers. The more sources of income you can get, the better, as if one of those streams of income falls, you have the others to lean back on. You don't want to be relying on one single retainer or one single bit of consistent work. You want to have lots of different pieces of work that all come in to create that income. Now, the mistake that a lot of people make is not doing any free work at all once you've started charging. Don't get me wrong, you don't want to be doing much of it. But here and there, if there's an opportunity to build your network or to get a foot in the door somewhere at a higher level than you're currently covering, to potentially open an opportunity later on down the line for more money, 100% take a bit of free work here and there. But you need to make sure that you're not doing it too much. When you're speculating to accumulate, you are also accumulating at some point. I think the biggest thing when monetizing your craft is to not overcharge too early. It's really easy to think that your work is the best, as you're naturally going to, and start charging ridiculous rates for your work. I did the exact same thing. However, you'll soon see that you're going to start to lose clients, and the paid work isn't going to come in as much because your rates aren't matching your work. It's not the end of the world if you start doing that and you start seeing clients leave. Make sure that you're reviewing your rates, reviewing the amount of paid work that you're getting, and making sure that everything's aligning. Because if you notice it too late and you've already got a name for overcharging, it's going to be really hard to undo that. Now, that's personally how I went full-time as a freelance photographer and videographer. I know a lot of people that have done it in different ways because there's so many different routes that you can go down to go full-time as a creative.